So, at its recent Connect event, Meta didn't just show off a new gadget. Oh no, they pretty much declared war on the smartphone. Mark Zuckerberg laid out this whole vision for a new era of computing, one that, lives right on your face. But is this actually the future? Or is it just another incredibly expensive dream? In this explainer, we're going to break it all down.
All right, here's the game plan for what we'll cover. First, we'll tackle that big smartphone killer claim. Then, we'll meet the new AI glasses themselves. We'll break down Meta's broader strategy, try to unpack Zuckerberg's grand plan, and finally weigh the incredible promise against the, well, kind of awkward reality.
The entire Meta Connect event really boils down to this one fascinating conflict: the technology that totally wowed people behind closed doors versus the tech that failed, and failed spectacularly, in public.
Okay, let's start with the hype, because, believe me, it was real. Journalists who got these private, hands-on demos were just blown away. Take Victoria's Song at The Verge. She's a known smart glasses skeptic, and even she said she was completely converted. She went as far as to call them the closest thing we've ever gotten to that original, unfulfilled promise of Google Glass.
But then came the keynote. During the live, public presentation, the tech just stumbled. In what became one of the most talked-about moments, Zuckerberg couldn't even answer a video call on the glasses. He was just left on stage, awkwardly trying to fill the silence. And another live AI demo? It got stuck in a loop, unable to follow basic instructions. It was a completely different picture from all those glowing private reviews.
And that contrast, right, the public embarrassment versus the private praise, that perfectly captures Meta's massive, massive gamble. They are betting billions of dollars that this is the next great computing platform, but that launch proved just how far they still have to go.
So, let's actually look at the star of the show, the new Meta Ray-Ban glasses, the ones with a built-in display. What can these things really do?
Okay, so they look like a kind of chunky pair of Ray-Bans, but they pack a full-color display right in the right lens for seeing messages and taking calls. You get a 12-megapixel camera, about 6 hours of battery life, but the most interesting part, the part that's a real game changer, they aren't controlled by a touchpad. They're controlled by this neural wristband.
So how in the world does that wristband controller work? Well, it uses a technology called electromyography. Now, that's a mouthful, but it's basically a fancy way of saying it reads the tiny electrical signals your brain is already sending to the muscles in your hand. This means it can figure out your gestures without a camera, even if your hand is just resting in your pocket. And the controls themselves are designed to be super intuitive and subtle. You pinch your index finger to click on something. You pinch your middle finger to go back. A quick double pinch summons or dismisses the whole display, and a little swipe of your thumb scrolls. It's a completely new and almost invisible way to interact with your tech.
But here's the thing. Meta isn't just betting the farm on one super expensive device. Nope, they unveiled a whole lineup of AI glasses, which shows a really clear strategy to get this tech onto as many faces as possible. So the lineup really targets 3 different kinds of users. For the early adopters, the tech enthusiasts, you've got the high-end $799 display model. For more everyday users, there's a new, less expensive $379 model that doubles the battery life. And then, for a totally different crowd, they launched the Oakley Vanguard, built for athletes.
The Vanguards are a really smart move. They are built for performance, water-resistant with a 9-hour battery, and crucially, they integrate with apps that athletes actually use, like Garmin and Strava. So you could be mid-run and just ask the AI for your heart rate. Pretty cool.
Okay, so that's the what. But the bigger question is why? Why is Meta doing this? Why pour billions upon billions of dollars into such a high-risk project? Let's try to unpack Zuckerberg's grand plan here.
So, according to Zuckerberg himself, this is all about fixing a problem that smartphones kind of created in the first place. He argues that we've lost our sense of presence with each other because we're always looking down at our phones. The idea is that heads-up computing through glasses can help us get that back.
But it goes even deeper than just presence. The real bet here is that AI glasses are the perfect body for an AI. Think about it. It gives the assistant eyes and ears in your world, letting it become a true contextual helper that actually understands your environment.
And let's be crystal clear about the scale of this bet. The division behind this tech, Reality Labs, has lost over $70 billion since 2020. That's not a typo. This is an absolute all-in move, and it's being funded entirely by Meta's social media profits.
And yeah, while the glasses were definitely the main event, this whole thing still plugs back into that broader metaverse vision. Meta also announced tools to scan your actual room into VR and made some major upgrades to its Horizon Worlds platform. It's all supposed to be one big, connected ecosystem.
Which brings us right back to where we started. We've seen the incredible vision, and we've seen the impressive underlying tech. So now let's weigh all that against the very real challenges and, frankly, the awkward realities of today.
The contrast is it's stark when you lay it all out. On one hand, you have the promise of this amazing world of seamless information, incredible accessibility tools like live captions for the hearing impaired. But the reality, at least for now, is a buggy demo, a really steep price tag, and a whole host of new social questions that we haven't even begun to answer.
And this brings us to a brand new, kind of scary social dilemma. Forget checking your phone under the dinner table. With these things, you could be looking someone dead in the eye, having a conversation while you're actually scrolling through Instagram, and they might never, ever know.
Ultimately, this is the question that Meta has bet its entire future on. Is the convenience of a hands-free display really worth inviting a screen permanently into our field of view? The technology is undeniably impressive, but whether we as a society are actually ready for it, well, that remains to be seen.